Have you ever paused mid-thought and wondered, who is actually doing the thinking right now? Are you just the gray matter inside your skull, or is there something else looking out through those eyes? For centuries, philosophers have argued over exactly what makes you, you. On one side, materialists argue that we are biological machines, meat and bone reacting to chemical signals. On the other side, some argue that we are essentially a pilot trapped inside a fleshy vehicle, a ghost haunting a machine. But ancient texts, particularly within the biblical tradition, offer a different framework. They propose that human architecture is built in 3 distinct layers. This diagram shows 3 specific components: the body, the soul, and the spirit. To make sense of this ancient idea, think of your own smartphone. It relies on 3 main elements: physical hardware, an operating system, and an internal antenna. This specific 3-part architecture maps out that internal friction we feel every day. It clarifies why our minds are so often caught in a tug-of-war between competing impulses. Let's start with the most obvious layer, the physical body. In our smartphone analogy, this is the hardware. It is the screen, the battery, and the casing. The body's exclusive function is to act as your physical interface with the world. It uses built-in sensors, your eyes, ears, and nerve endings, to gather data from the material environment around you. Now jump to the exact opposite end of your architecture. Here we find the spirit. In ancient Hebrew and Greek, the words used for spirit, ruach and pneuma, literally translate to breath or wind. By definition, the spirit is entirely immaterial and invisible. This schematic illustrates how the 2 extremes operate. While the body interacts with the physical earth below, the spirit acts like a Wi-Fi antenna reaching upward. It is designed specifically to seek out and connect to an invisible, divine network. So you have a physical body strictly bound by gravity and matter, and an invisible spirit seeking higher meaning and connection. These 2 extremes are so completely opposed that they cannot communicate directly. They require a bridge. People often use the words soul and spirit interchangeably, assuming they mean the exact same thing. But in this 3-part framework, they serve entirely different functions. This Venn diagram shows the soul as the operating system, sitting squarely between your hardware and your Wi-Fi. Inside that intersection, we find the core components of human psychology. The soul contains your mind, your will, and your emotions. Think of the soul as your main user interface. When your physical hardware experiences hunger or touches a hot stove, it sends that raw data directly into the soul, where your mind and emotions process it into a feeling of discomfort. At the exact same time, the soul receives completely different signals from the spirit. This is where you process immaterial inputs, like a sudden pang of conscience, a deep longing for purpose, or a clear sense of moral direction. The soul is where you actually live. It is your conscious self, and its daily job is to navigate, translate, and reconcile the constant demands of both the physical world and the spiritual realm. To really see this architecture in action, picture greeting a close friend you haven't seen in years. When all 3 parts work in perfect harmony, the experience is seamless. Your body performs the physical action of a hug, your soul registers the emotional joy of the friendship, and your spirit recognizes the deeper, unconditional love of that human connection. But what happens when the system is out of sync? Why do we often experience cognitive dissonance, where we want to do something while simultaneously telling ourselves to stop? Imagine your alarm clock rings at 5 a.m. Your hardware, the body, demands immediate physical comfort. It sends urgent signals that it wants to stay in the warm bed and conserve energy. Meanwhile, your internal Wi-Fi, the spirit, is pulling you toward a long-term goal. It reminds you of the discipline you committed to and the higher purpose you want to achieve by getting up early. This flowchart illustrates the resulting bottleneck. The soul, acting as the referee, receives these completely contradictory signals at the exact same time. Your willpower must process the physical craving against the spiritual conviction and flip the switch to make a final behavioral choice. This integrated 3-part architecture is what makes us human. It places us where we can experience the tension and the beauty of living exactly between the physical earth and the divine.